Hey friends, welcome back to Hot News. Hope you're doing well. Glad to see your smiling faces back here. So we got a lot to talk about, especially in the ways of Nvidia today, I suppose. We got a good bit of Nvidia news to talk about, but before we do, I need to let you know that today's video is brought to you by MSI's P65 Creator Notebook. This sweet, sexy, sleek looking, beautiful notebook is just something that you guys need to check out. Not only does it have up to an i7-8750H processor and up to a 1060 graphics card, it has the Cooler Boost Trinity cooling system to cool all of those down to keep it going. It has a thin bezel with an IPS level display and close to 100 sRGB color saturation, so it's made not for just gamers, but content professionals as well. It has one-touch access with Windows Hello and an 8+ hour battery life. So my friends, if you want to check out this notebook, there is a link in the video description for you to click on to actually look at it, because if you had one of these in your hands, you would be like, hot dang, this is a gorgeous piece of machinery. And with that being said, let's jump on into the hot news and talk about Nvidia's 2060. So back when the 20 series was officially unveiled, we found out that the cards were going to be called the RTX, no longer GTX. Everything is done away with. That was old. Now everything starts with R for ray tracing and deep learning super sampling, because you don't need ray tracing to be considered RTX. And it looks like, even though the rumors at the time, especially from Adore TV, indicated that Nvidia might retain the GTX branding for the 2060 and below, according to leaked promotional material from a few people, we do indeed see that this is now going to be called the RTX 2060. And it seems like it is indeed also going to have some tensor cores and some ray tracing cores in this little puppy of a graphics card. So basically, the promotional images just confirmed GeForce RTX 2060. There's not a whole lot behind that, but there is more information that we have seen floating around the internet. So I kind of want to detail that for you guys, because we are anticipating that this will get announced at CES in a few weeks. So it looks like the RTX 2060 is going to have 1,920 CUDA cores, which is the exact same amount as a GTX 1070. It'll have 240 tensor cores, and since there's an 8:1 ratio on tensor cores to ray tracing cores, it will have 30 ray tracing cores, which is well under half of what the 2080 Ti has and can't even properly run ray tracing. Clock speeds not yet confirmed. Memory is going to be about 6 gigabytes of GDDR6, which means it has the same CUDA core count as a 1070, and it has less memory than a 1070, and it doesn't even have enough ray tracing elements to be useful. And according to everything that we're seeing coming out right now, the price looks like it's going to be right at that $399 mark. So a $400 graphics card that looks to be nearly a direct replica of a card released 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago almost. And we're supposed to just accept that this is the future of Nvidia. This is what we're getting. And from what we know about the 20 series with Turing from the 2070, 2080, and 2080 Ti, we know that they don't clock necessarily all that much higher than the 10 series, which means that you're not getting faster clock speeds, you're getting the same CUDA cores. The only thing that's going to be better here is the faster memory speed, which is going to be 14 gigabits per second, as opposed to the 8 or 9 that you'll see on a 1070. So it's faster in the memory department, but you have less memory. So you're getting a lesser card at the same launch price. I don't understand this whatsoever. According to an opinion piece by PC Games In, which is something that I would tend to agree with, the 2060 is not a mainstream GTX 1060 replacement. It's actually the 1070 replacement, and it's not even a very good one at that, especially if you look on websites that, you know, sell graphics cards, especially if you check out UFD deals. If you go to the graphics card section, you will find not one, but two, but three different 1070 Ti's that are going for less than $400 right now. Three 1070 Ti's less than $400. You can get 1070s for around $300. So anything that's right around the $400 range that is a direct replacement for the 1070 is ultimately super stupid. And with 30 ray tracing cores and not that many tensor cores, it's not going to be able to do ray tracing because the 2080 Ti could barely do it. And it's definitely not going to be able to do deep learning super sampling in the only game that has it right now, which is Final Fantasy 15, because you have to run that game at 4K. And the only way you're getting a game to run at 4K with the 1070 is if you turn down the settings quite a bit, and then what does deep learning super sampling even matter? It looks simply, at least at the case right now, that Nvidia has just really raised the price of all of their cards, and that's what we kind of have to deal with, especially with no competition anywhere in sight from AMD. Nvidia is reigning free to just jack up the prices and suck out our wallet money, and we're just gonna have to take it and accept it. And if you want terrible ray tracing for a card that you could have gotten 2.5 years ago, then you might want to think about picking up the RTX 2060 when it's announced in a few weeks. Again, all of this is rumors, so I might be getting salty for nothing. The only way that I can see Nvidia winning here is if they sell this for $300. It's an exact one-to-one price for the 1060. They're selling it at $300. At that point, I could consider it. It's not that great of an upgrade, but at that point, at least they're not stepping on the toes of something that is basically the exact same for video games, but actually much cheaper in the 1070. So that's where I'm sitting right now on this. Nvidia, please do not place your 2060s at $400. That would be insanity. It'll be $400 for the card, and it'll be $500 for the Founders Edition. So that'll be lovely. That's what I'm looking forward to. Anyways, let me know, are you guys excited for the 2060? I'll leave a poll up there. Would you buy it at $300, $400, or does it need to be below that, like $200, $250? I'll leave a poll, you click on the answer. Let me know what you think. 2060, is you excited? So that was the negative Nvidia portion. Let's go into the positive but slightly creepy and super terrifying for what the implications will mean in the future part of this Nvidia story, and that's Nvidia has released a few images. What you're looking at on the screen right now, you think is just like a picture of a person. That's not a person. That is an artificially generated rendering of a human. Those look like pictures. They legit look like humans. Nvidia did this with AI technology. They did not do this in a way where they rendered it out. They, spent 1,000 hours in Blender to create this little They did not mold this. This is artificially generated people. There are some imperfections that you can see in certain ones, like there's asymmetrical aspects where eye color might be a little different or the spacing might be a little off, and you can kind of tell it in just a few of them, but for the most part, they created fake people. What is this going to mean for stock models? Because like they can just make that old grandpa dude. They can just make that guy. They can put people in any given situation with artificial rendering. Stock models are gone. They could probably do this, at least in a few years, in movies. So actors, where are you gonna be? I'm sure that the voice actors, you definitely have a long career ahead of you because somebody has to actually generate the voice behind these people. But this is baffling, exciting, and kind of creepy, and we'll see where this goes. Technology, questioning your view of reality since ever. And then speaking of questioning reality, if you want a $2,500 Titan RTX, they're now available for sale. Just want to throw that in there. And if you're one of the very few people who couldn't get the Windows 10 October update because of whatever reason, and you really, really want to do the ray tracing, even at the cost of security on your personal rig, you can now, Windows October update has now rolled out to everybody in December. So, and it's not even still fully secure. There's still problems with it. So if you want it, you can get it. Yay! Okay, and then more disappointing ray tracing news. The Windows thing was kind of tied into that. Well, we mentioned that 3D Mark was going to be bringing out a ray tracing benchmark. It's supposed to come out January 8th. It was demoed at the Galaxy Overclocking Carnival on December 8th, and now we actually have a video that shows what the exact benchmark looks like and what type of performance you can expect. So, one of the best overclockers in the world took his RTX 2080 Ti, overclocked it to, just a stable 2.64 gigahertz, and then still couldn't even get 60 FPS in the benchmarking for ray tracing. So what is this benchmarking? The 2060 is gonna get like 5 FPS. This is horrible. And then I think this is the last bit of Nvidia news. Yes, it should be. So there is a GeForce MX 250 that has been rumored out on the internet through an HP notebook that is showing that they do indeed have an MX 250 with 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 VRAM. There are leaked benchmarks of it already on the internet through a Geekbench score, and it looks like that this is going to be pretty okay for the more budget range notebooks that aren't exactly gaming, but then you get to play Fortnite at decent resolutions with decent frame rates. So that's kind of cool. You know what else is kind of cool? Twitter has now made it easier for you to sort by chronological on your Twitter feed. They never got rid of it. They just always made it very hard to access, and then it would revert at any given time. They are now saying they're implementing in the latest update that you can do it very quickly, and that eventually it'll remember your preference and just always keep it there. That's what they're saying. We'll see if that actually happens. And then, in the most exciting, boring news that I could bring to you, Elon Musk and the Boring Company have opened their tunnel and they took it for a test drive just yesterday. And if you're watching on the video right now, it basically took a Model X, put it on rails and slid it down a long tunnel. And then they took an elevator with the car up onto the streets and then drove back to the start. So they were in a Model X the entire time, traversing both the above ground and the underground. This is obviously part of Elon's Musk to give us a 3D network of tunnels under the ground so that we can alleviate some congestion that, you know, places like Los Angeles are just a steaming pile of cesspool of tires. So hopefully this will pan out. It's kind of cool. This is like a 1980s bad sci-fi movie is what I'm watching right now, with the white walls and just the one light in the tunnel. Supposedly the ride was a little bit bumpy during the trip, but Elon Musk says that it's gonna be smooth as glass as soon as it's ready, because this is the first unveiling that they've done. This is not ready for public use, so we'll see how it goes. Then Gigabyte released their Aorus RGB memory back at Computex, but it always included dummy sticks so that you could have 4 and then 2 illuminated that don't have any memory on it. Well, now finally they're selling it without those dummy sticks. Why didn't they do that initially? No idea. But now you can get Aorus memory and don't have to have stupid dummy sticks that you're paying a little bit extra for. And then lastly, my friends, AT&T is launching its 5G service this coming Friday. In case you wanted to get cancer wherever you live, 5G is the way to go. There are currently no phones that I'm aware of that support 5G, especially on the AT&T service. So you guys might be able to tell me of one down in the comments, but they have a little 5G Netgear, you know, hotspot thing that's gonna cost you $70 a month for 15 gigabytes on 5G. So not only is it terribly expensive, but your doctor's bills will be too once that growth starts manifesting. And with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up hot news there on the most positive note ever. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the 2060, what you think of 5G, what you think of the Boring Company down in the comments down below. Don't forget that this video was brought to you by MSI's P65 Creator Notebook. Sleek, gorgeous, powerful, everything that you could want. Check it out at the link in the video description. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech Channel. You should hit the like button and you should hit subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll see you and your smiling faces again in the next video. Love you too.